Yeah.
so far has been
It,
unconstitutional and illegal, and
It's
they just
like
don't
it's
care.
like the Department of War. I mean, it's
Yeah.
first of all, it's not congressionally mandated. There's never been a bill or an act put in place or a resolution to actually rename from Department of Defense to Department of War.
Hmm.
Second of all, you want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse? It's going to cost us like $10 billion just to rename everything over to the
Hmm.
Department of War. So just because Donald Trump makes up a fictional agency like Doge or department or puts out an EO does not make it law. And the fact that this Congress is so damn silent and complying with every single one of his whims is just absolutely absurd. And we're seeing a lot of pushback from the Democrats, but you know what? We're not seeing pushback from the Democrats on. We're not seeing pushback from the Democrats on calling out the blatant corruption that is
Hmm.
in the executive branch that spills all the way over to the judicial branch as well as the legislative branch. And I tell a lot of the younger generations, like especially when I'm talking about only wanting to be in there for 2 terms, is that I don't want to be a politician. I don't want to be in there. I want to remove the roadblocks. I want to call them out so that I can make way for the younger generations to come in. Because until we actually root out and call out by name and
Hmm.
publicly shame these people 24 hours a day. No justice, no peace. Anytime they're out at a restaurant, anytime they're out at a Beetlejuice performance
Hmm.
play or something like that, like I want the public to surround these people and drop the receipts that I will provide in 4K of exactly who is bought and paid for and who's doing the buying and paying for. Because it's not enough just to call out the representatives. You got to call out these companies and these crooked ass CEOs to their face as well,
Hmm.
and these APACs and even NRA. That's why
Hmm.
I also want to implement a law, which is going to be a really hard sell because so many of these people are on the take. But we need to ban all foreign funded organizations from political contributions,
I
period.
mean, it's wild to me that foreign organizations are allowed to lobby within the United States, period. I mean,
Right.
that seems it seems like one of those, duh, that's a national security risk at the very least, and just ethically ambiguous, just on its face. And then obviously tons of repercussions, especially when you think about countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar that have, and Israel, obviously, that spend a lot of
And the
time.
U, yeah, United
Um,
Emirates, all of them. I mean,
uh-huh.
Well,
there's
and isn't it
any
the
any
case?
foreign funded organizations, and that would also carry over into home base operations to stopping
Mhm.
them from accepting foreign contributions because you got age old organizations like the NRA who, when they're dealing with financial crisis, accept contributions from countries and state actors such as Hungary and Russia just so that, I mean, at that point, it's just
Mhm.
using American based organizations to launder foreign lobbying to then lobby and
Well,
make political contributions. So any and all foreign contributions need to be kicked out of our politics. I don't care
yeah.
where they're originating from and where they end up coming from.
What were you gonna say, Taylor?
Well, I mean, there's two things with that. Isn't it already illegal for like foreign nationals to give direct contributions? So like this would
Unless you're
be
buying
It,
crypto.
right. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So
Well,
like, I
yeah.
mean, this would just be an extension of that. So I feel like that's not, it shouldn't be that crazy of a sell. And then I guess secondly, if we just shifted entirely to publicly funded elections, and there's
Hmm.
no corporate contributions at all, then there's no issues with this whatsoever.
Yeah, we got to get. My phone keeps falling. Sorry about that. We got to get rid
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
Citizens United. Absolutely, the hard
Yeah.
sell is going to be APAC, and I'm going to be posting on this later today because I'm a big fan of James Tellerico, but I also absolutely love the fight with Jasmine Crockett and her announcing for running for Senate now, and they're going to be going up against each other. I saw a clip of Jasmine Crockett where she was asked about why because apparently she doesn't accept any APAC donations, which is wonderful. But
Hmm.
she still votes down party lines as far as voting for continued aid and arms to Israel and things of that nature. And uh, yes, we need to get like every single representative should stop receiving APAC donations. Uh, it may have started out as something noble in the past, but it was only not even that long ago that they went from lobbying for policy and legislation to actually donating to incumbents and candidates, and getting in the mix of our elections. So they need to be completely kicked out of that. But it's not enough today to see someone just not accept foreign funded organizations like APAC, but they need to actively speak out against it. I'm sorry if that puts a target on your back, but if you are not accepting
You know,
APAC, but then you're voting to supply Netanyahu with arms, that's a contradictory stance right there. So I don't know how I'm gonna side with Jasmine Crockett or James Tellerico with the Senate race, because I really do respect both of them, and I think they'd
mhm.
both be really strong voices in that position. And I'm sure because of the Texas gerrymandering that's why she's running for Senate, because she
Oh,
probably
I mean,
feels
yeah,
like
because
she's
she
going to be cut
originally
out of
said she
the House.
wasn't going to run, and then the court had originally overturned the Texas gerrymandering maps, and
Right.
then after it was they won their appeal and they're allowed to move forward with those maps, that's when she kind of flipped the script and decided to run. And I was so conflicted when I got that announcement because again, I do love both of them so much. And when James Tallarico entered the race, I was like. It was my favorite thing. I'm like James Tallarico running for Senate in Texas. Like, every year we feel that this is the year to flip a seat in Texas, and
Yeah.
then it's never the year, and it always like underperforms. The fact that we continue to lose to Ted Cruz is, well, it's fucking embarrassing for one thing. But
Well,
it's
they
also,
also they also directly rig it, because you got people like their Attorney General Ken Paxton literally
Mhm.
throwing out millions upon millions of votes on a
Yeah.
win.
But then and I thought I still think James Tallarico, and I know that the polling is leaning towards Jasmine Crockett. I think that was the other motivation for her to run is her polling numbers are really good. But again, in Texas, it always seems like the polling never quite, it always seems to overrepresent Democrats' performance. And if Colin Allred, who fit the bill for everything Texas, former NFL player. I love football down there. More of a moderate. He couldn't win. And I think a lot of that has to do with, Texas isn't a big fan of black people. Now you add a black woman to it, and I think that that's a big obstacle. Whereas